So the people who was out in the industry, were they doing this for money? This is all fake. Everything is fake.
For the past few years, Jaguar Wright has been a lightning rod for controversy. She has name-dropped the biggest figures in entertainment, claiming to pull back the curtain on an industry she describes as deeply compromised. After pivoting away from her music career, she managed to build a massive new platform as an industry whistleblower. But we have to ask the critical question: was Jaguar Wright actually dismantling the system, or was she simply building a new door into it? This isn't just about one individual. From the ideological shifts of Candace Owens to the rebranding of Russell Brand, a distinct pattern is emerging. These figures aren't necessarily exposing the industry. They're using the narrative of exposure as a high-stakes career pivot. Today, we are investigating the business of the whistleblowers. And
I was wondering how some of these people could say stuff about the industry and not get like no type of consequences done to them when they're just out and everything. But it makes sense now. Everything was always like a professional, like to change professionals, like to change their profession. Because once the money won't coming in from music, what else you gonna do?
the figures who may be more performative than they are provocative. During the fall of Diddy, we witnessed the rapid ascent of Jaguar Wright. She was a highly talented artist who for years struggled to find a foothold in the mainstream. But what she did find was a compromised system bound by a code of silence. She turned that silence into her ultimate lifeline, becoming known for calling out the very corruption that others were too terrified to even acknowledge. A few years back, an interview she did with Real Life Productions seemed like just another viral clip.
Nightcrawler lets you snag great last-minute deals on hotels, so you can say yes.
Bro, that's scary as freak.
But little did she know, it would change her life forever. While it initially gained some traction, it wasn't until Diddy's legal situation intensified that this interview truly exploded. Millions watched as her warning about him appeared.
I watched it too.
Prophetic, and almost overnight, she gained a reputation as a credible whistleblower. Because her claims about Puff seemed validated, she successfully launched a second career as the internet's premier industry critic. In 2024, the best thing that could have happened for her brand finally occurred. Puff was arrested. This was the moment Jaguar transitioned from YouTube niche to mainstream fixture. Major media outlets were suddenly calling her name, and she landed on massive stage like Piers Morgan's Uncensored. She became the face of the resistance, pulling in millions of views and riding a wave of public fascination. But as the spotlight intensified, people began to notice a recurring problem. She could never actually provide the proof. Her receipts were always based on the claim of simply being there, and that narrative began to crumble when her specific stories were debunked. With her credibility fracturing, her second chance
Her stories were debunked.
at that spotlight began to fade. Today, Jaguar is still doing the interview circuit, calling out anyone she thinks would keep her relevant. It leaves us with a critical question. Was she ever truly exposing the industry? Or was she just riding a viral wave to make it last? While many believe she was a genuine truth seeker, and I'll admit, at one point I did too, the inconsistencies.
But you never know, cause it's so much back and forth stuff that happen on the internet. You never know who be for real and who don't be. But I really feel like Orlando Brown was for real. I don't know about Cat Williams, but I feel like Orlando Brown was for real.
Became impossible to.
Cause you can't fake that. Like he really went through something. Like he really looked like he went through some stuff. You can't fake that.
ignore. She presented herself as a Christian woman standing against spiritual corruption.
Leaving Richard Nichols, I'm a Christian, he's an atheist. How can I let him make life choices for me?
But in the very interviews used to expose the system, she exposed herself. During an interview with the Too Strong platform, she made admissions that completely contradicted the values she claimed to represent.
I do not practice the same form of spirituality that everyone else does. What I am would terrify most of you, if you actually knew. Matter of fact, if any of you actually knew what I truly am, you wouldn't ask me stupid questions like that at all. See, when you open the door,
What the freak is she talking about?
questions, you better be sure you're ready for the answer. And if you want to know how I know Beyonce is a witch, I'll say it as simple as this. It takes one to know one.
Jaguar and I had a brief back and forth after I made a video pointing out these very inconsistencies. Her reaction wasn't to offer facts, it was to launch into a series of baseless claims about me. She even went as far as to imply she was into the same occult beliefs she previously condemned.
But I understand to be a Christian and to also be open to learning about different stuff. But when you label yourself as a Christian, but then say, "Oh, you're a witch," and then say all this, bro, what the freak are you like? Like what?
All while trying to claim she never said she was a Christian, despite the footage of her saying exactly that years prior.
So yeah, the truth is, y'all can't handle the truth. It's why I can honestly say, if you're using the word Christian and talking about me, you're a fool. I'm nobody's Christian. Nope. I'm a Christian. He's an atheist. How can I let him make life choices for me? Because the goal on this planet is not to be Christ-like. It is to be demon-like. I practice the old way. I have studied and still study Egyptian sciences, or should I say Kemetic practice.
I mean, okay, but she's talking about Egyptian stuff. Is that really demon-like? I mean, they basically live upon the golden rule that Jesus lived by. Treat others like how you want yourself to be treated. So is that really demon? Bro, is the ancient Egypt, are those really considered like demonic practices, or are they really more Christian-like? Because I never really know what type of spiritual religion or whatever the freak that they practiced back in ancient Egypt.
Knowledge and education, and I apply all of those things to my life daily. You're doing videos about me, you put my name and title because I'm trending and it's going to get views. That's all. It's the math. Nothing more, nothing less.
To me, the motive is clear. She saw a path to fame and took it. Her desire to be a part of the machine she critics was always hiding in plain sight. The proof we need is seeing her buddy on the red carpet with Rick Ross, one of Puff's closest longtime associates. While she built a career attacking Puff, she had no problem posing for photos and acting like a star next to his inner circle. If the industry offered her a record deal tomorrow, I believe she'll take it in a heartbeat.
Me too, bro, because ever since she did do those things, she been kind of acting a little Hollywood. Now you barely even see her. She was all for the people, and now I don't even know what she's doing now. She probably did do all that for fake.
Doesn't want to destroy the industry. She just wants her seat at the table. The moment mainstream media began embracing her with every major platform wanting a sit down, I knew she wasn't what she presented herself as. In this industry, when you tell the truth and you aren't an asset to the machine, they ignore you entirely. Were some of the things she said true? Yes, but it was mostly things many of us already knew that was already circulating online. It wasn't the first-hand experience she claimed. It was just internet rumors that everyone knew had some truth to them. While Jag deserves credit for sparking people's quest for accountability, she also needs to be questioned for the times she wasn't being honest and possibly made things up just for attention. Jaguar Wright is ultimately an artist whose career didn't work out, and she saw a fresh opportunity to stay relevant through YouTube gossip. It's the same pattern.
And I know you boys
Bro, don't tell me Orlando Brown lied.
Is that? But ladies,
ain't no way.
Protect yourself.
He lied about the doo-wop, ooh-wop, boo-wop.
See with Orlando Brown.
The skid up, dop.
Orlando Brown was one of the many cases of a child star gone wrong. Thrust into fame at only 7 years old, he got his big role on That's So Raven and worked on other Disney shows. By the time he was 19, his career was effectively non-existent. The show had ended and the roles got fewer and fewer until he completely disappeared. Things quickly went sideways when he finally popped back up. While he returned to the spotlight, it wasn't on Disney. This time, it was arrest after arrest
Look at you
for
smiling,
petty
bro.
crimes and other public issues. Because people were captivated by the sight of another child star falling apart, Orlando was invited to do an interview with Vlad TV. He turned it into a viral explosion after suggesting that he and Raven had a romantic past. That moment spread instantly, giving Orlando Brown a new career overnight. He realized that the further he took things and the wilder he came off, the more attention he received, which meant more appearances and more money. Once he ran out of stories about himself, he turned his focus towards others. He suggested he was mistreated as a child star.
Bro, he was lying, bro.
And taken advantage of by many powerful elders in the business. To be clear, I do believe Orlando was left with serious lasting trauma from his time in the industry. I even made a full video on the specific moment he actually tried to speak out. But while he touches on serious systemic issues, he also turned himself into a class clown who is willing
Maybe that was a way that he could say certain stuff and cope with it.
to say anything for a viral headline. If you want to hear my thoughts on the claims I actually found serious, check out my other video on him after this one.
I think I saw that
But the problem
before.
with Orlando is that he often says whatever he thinks will get him the most attention. Often, what he says doesn't even make sense. And this is what throws me off about his narrative. I know the industry is a flawed system, and I agree with Orlando there. But when he speaks in bizarre riddles, I don't know what he's talking about. Orlando
Nobody
has proven he
does.
can't be trusted because he will do and say anything for profit. He literally proved this by joining the cast of Baddies, which is the absolute peak of brain rot media. But the real confirmation that he was just catering to the algorithm was dependent on his chain right here. If that logo doesn't confirm he was a part of the club, and it's the reason he's even allowed to keep a platform, nothing will. That symbol tells you everything you need to know about Orlando. He's an actor who turned himself into an online personality to quote-unquote expose the industry. It is the exact same blueprint we're seeing with Russell Brand.
What the freak Russell Brand do?
Is perhaps the most polished example.
I only remember Russell Brand for dating Katy Perry, and he hosted the VMAs that one year. I think it was like 2013 when Taylor Swift got when Kanye went up there and said she don't deserve it, Beyonce deserved it, whatever year that was. I think Russell Brand hosted the VMAs that year. But what the freak is he doing? Because I remember seeing him on MTV with like his ass out with like a Speedo on.
Of this entire blueprint. Long before he was a truth seeker on Rumble, he was the industry's ultimate golden boy. He was a Hollywood A-lister, a mainstream host, and a willing participant in the very system he now calls the Matrix. But as his mainstream career began to cool, and the 2023 investigations into his past started to move from rumors to reality, Russell didn't just fade away. He pivoted. He traded the Hollywood red carpets for a spiritual guru persona, claiming to be an anti-establishment voice fighting global corruption. But the timing of this awakening is the real smoking gun. He didn't start calling out the system when he was at the top of Hollywood. He started when the system was about to throw him to the wolves. By framing himself as a target of the establishment before the headlines even hit, he created a built-in defense for his upcoming June 2026 trial. To his followers, he's a martyr being silenced for speaking the truth. But to anyone paying attention, he's a man who saw the legal walls closing in and built a new kingdom in the truth seeker space to protect himself from the fallout. To me, it's clear he saw this as his only path to survival. The most obvious contradiction is that Russell Brand was a part of the machine.
Bro, he was with Brett Rock, and his name, did he have like a love show? Because I remember, because I was deep into those love shows, from Flavor Flav to I Love New York to The Real Chance of Love to I Love Ray J. Brett Rock, I watched his love show too. Those was peak television reality TV.
Decades, he profited from the same dark industry practices he now critiques, and he only saw the light once his mainstream bridges were burned. He hasn't actually exposed anything that wasn't already public record. He's just using the narrative of exposure as a high-stakes legal shield. He didn't leave the industry because of a moral awakening. The industry moved on from him, and he's now just using the truth as his final rebrand, just like we saw with Candace Owens. If Russell Brand is the spiritual pivot, then Candace Owens is the blueprint for the ideological rebrand. Before she was the leading voice of Black conservatism, Candace was actually running a lifestyle blog called Degree 180, where she frequently criticized the very conservative values.
I never really heard of Candace Owens until I started watching that guy that talk about black people. What's his name? You know the dude I'm talking about with the glasses, dark skin with the locks. Bro, he be talking about Candace Owens and all the black people who be acting raccoons because they don't like being black or something. I don't really know too much about Candace Owens.
She champions today. She was even a vocal critic of this administration's leader in her early political stages. But the real shift happened when her 2016 business venture, Social Autopsy, a website designed to dox and track online bullies, failed spectacularly.
It's certainly real.
Oh
it's
my gosh. Don't show me this.
Type of anti-gravity effect.
No.
After facing massive backlash from the left for the privacy concerns surrounding her site, she didn't just walk away. She completely transformed her identity. Almost overnight, she abandoned her democratic image and rebranded as a red pill truth seeker, claiming she had finally seen through the lies. But just like with the others, the timing and the financial ties tell a much different story than her awakening narrative suggests. Shortly after her pivot, Candace met George Farmer, the son of a British billionaire, and was engaged to him just 18 days later.
What?
This marriage didn't just give her a new last name. It gave her direct access to a level of global elite funding that most grassroots activists could only dream of. She then saw her big break after no other than Kanye randomly tweeted about her. This jump-started her career. While she claims to be fighting for the forgotten citizens, she has quietly leveraged her platform to support the very institutes that profit from systemic issues. The most glaring example of this was her partnership with the private prison industry. At the height of her influence, Candace was seen promoting the benefits of private prisons, appearing in promotional material for companies in that industry. This raises a massive red flag. How can you claim to be the voice of Black liberation while simultaneously being on the payroll of the private prison complex? To me, it's clear that Candace isn't interested in exposing the system. She is interested in securing her place within a new, more profitable one.
She just want that money. She trying to find the highest paying niche and she's sticking to it.
Her rapid marriage into billionaire status and the Kanye stimulus package to her promotion of corporate interests, Candace has proven that the truth she sells is always secondary to the brand she's building. At the end of the day, the pattern is undeniable. Whether it is the chaotic claims of Jaguar, Wright, and Orlando Brown, or the polished, high-stakes shifts of Russell Brand and Candace Owens, the goal often isn't to break the system. It is to profit from it. We are living in an era where the truth has become a commodity, and exposing the industry is the most effective way to build a new one. These figures didn't walk away from the machine. They just built their own versions of it. The next time you see a viral clip promising to reveal everything, ask yourself if this is a whistleblower risking it all or just another calculated rebrand. Don't trade one set of influencers for another. Think for yourself. Look at the receipts and remember to be sure who you're following. I feel like Erica Kirk is another one that should be on this list. It seems like she has other motives with how she's running TPU today. Recently, Drewski did a skit about Erica Kirk and parodied everything that I found off of her. If you want to see the exact moment Drewski's Erica Kirk skit became too real, make sure to watch this video right now. For those who want to support unfiltered content, make sure to like this video and subscribe to join the truth movement.
Bro, shout out to this dude. He always have something to say that's really insightful, bro. Shout out to the truth is, at this point, all these whistleblowers, I was wondering, bro, at first, I was like, how people saying all this stuff about the industry and no consequences are happening to them, especially if they're like known in the industry, nobody silenced them or nothing. That's why that Jim Carrey thing that he's a clone seems so real, because he's acting so different. But with these other whistleblowers that be saying that they out of the industry and nothing happened to them, like they just, it got to be off of fake. They saying maybe 1% of what they're saying is actually true, then everything else is all cap, because that's the only way they still here. Like, what? They know all this information and telling all this information to us, but yet nothing is happening. What the freak, bro? Stay safe out here.